Most people, I think financial success is a number or maybe a net worth target or maybe a retirement age or some milestone. And I'm here to say it really isn't about the accumulation. It's really about the structure, the durability, and the alignment. And on today's episode, I'm going to be giving you 5 tests to determine if you're actually financially successful. Welcome to Built for Life, Not Just Wealth. My name is Ryan Burklo, and today's episode, I think, is going to be a good one from the standpoint of oftentimes, as human beings, we want to know what are the metrics we should be looking at to know if we're going to be financially successful. And there's a bunch of different rules of thumb out there. And even what I'm about to give you now, it's more personalized on the standpoint of I'm going to have you think about different things to your personal situation rather than give you some basic formula. Um, However, it's a proactive action that you have to take when you look at these 5 different tests to look at your financial picture. I'm hoping the takeaway for you is going to be some action items for you to actually sit down and have an understanding of what your financial world looks like and tie it to what it is you want your life to look like. That alignment is key, what is going to be one of the tests here. So without further ado, let's jump right in. So test number one, um, I call it the cash flow control test. Do you control your cash flow or does your lifestyle control you? I work with a lot of high income earners and some of them have a great foundation because they're controlling their cash flow. Some of them don't because they really don't know where their money is going. And so, the wealth is built in the margin between those two. And so you have to understand, what does your monthly surplus look like? Are you paying yourself first, right? That standard line that we've all heard. And are you building assets intentionally? And are you living your life intentionally? And so one thing that Alex and I always suggest clients have is what we call a wealth building account. And if you want to go back to episode 275, we talk about the wealth building account and how that aligns with what we're talking about here in cash flow. And so you can actually answer the question, how much money entered your world last year and where did it go? Like, we get the statement all of the time, Ryan, I made a lot of money last year, but I don't know where it went. Well, this wealth building account allows you to have a great understanding of that. And this isn't about like stop going to Starbucks. That's not what we're saying. It's just having an understanding of who's controlling what. So that's test one. Test two, protecting your income and durability, right? And so for this one, look at episodes 261 and 262, where we talk about protecting your income, right? Could your life survive disruption? And that is everything from job loss to lawsuit to premature death to, do you have the legal documents in place? Maybe you're not dead, but maybe you can't make decisions, right? All of these align and they should align in a plan. And could you survive that disruption? And I don't know what's going to happen. It might be something small, it might be something large. Alex and I plan thinking we deal with the worst threats first, because those threats are the ones that can completely knock your financial world upside down and you may not be able to come back from it. And so if one unexpected event can collapse your plan, you don't really have a plan, you've got projections. And so I definitely suggest checking out episode 261 and 262 to have an alignment or have you have an understanding of how you're protected. And the fact of the matter is unless you're retired, and even if you are retired, your income is your greatest financial resource. If that shuts off or gets cut by 20%, how does that affect your life? Test number 3. This is what I call the freedom timeline test. How much optionality have you purchased? Being able to say no, choosing some set of obligations, downshifting without panic. Like these are the pieces that I think a lot of people want, but they haven't set up their balance sheet to do so, right? Like a key metric that we talk about is having 1 year's of income accessible to you. Now, I'm not saying if you're making 500 grand a year, I'm not saying $500,000 should sit in cash, although I don't know because I don't know if you're a business owner or what that looks like. but it's more of, do you have $500,000 accessible to you should you want it? And it's not always, right? This is freedom timeline test. This is maybe you don't want to work as hard and you want to take some time off, or you want a sabbatical, or you want to downshift and maybe not make as much money, right? This is where that timeline, that freedom test comes into play. Financial success isn't always about retiring early. It's maybe reducing the pressure early. So this is where your future design reshapes your present. And that planning work can really reshape how you're going about your day to day, because money can be stressful. And if you're constantly worried about, can I retire? Well, you might have a freedom test issue. And so for this one, check out episode 337 for more information on that and how to consider your freedom timeline. Test number 4. This might be my favorite one. It's what I call the alignment test. And this is, does your money reflect the life that you say you want, right? This is where the constant thing is, show me someone's bank account and I'll show you what they actually value, like their checking account. And on some level, that might be true, but also do a calendar audit as well versus a spending audit. Where are you spending your time? Obviously, and where are you spending your money? What's the gap between your stated priorities and actually where you're putting your money, the financial allocation of that money? And is there any misalignment? Oftentimes there's a silent misalignment, not on purpose, but we go day to day and we get lost in the sauce of life, and you just start doing stuff and you don't even realize it. That misalignment compounds quietly, right? And so does alignment. So ask yourself, are you funding the right spots, the right assets? Are you funding freedom? Like, do you have that set up back to the prior test, right? So make sure your money is reflecting the life that you say you want, which is go check out episode 339 for this alignment test. And then test number 5, this is the liquidity and sequencing test. This is understanding, this kind of ties back to the freedom test as well, but this really kind of clarifies, what you have in place and what could disrupt what it is that you want, right? Build your financial plan around we don't build it around emotional toughness. Let me rephrase that. We don't build around emotions. We build plans around structural resilience. And this is where we want to make sure that we've got different buckets, a market-based bucket, right? This is your 401ks, your stock market type of buckets. We've got the liquidity buckets. This could be cash, CDs, savings, certain forms of permanent life insurance, right? And then we've got contractual buckets, right? This could just be, on some level, it might be your 401k, although that might be your market bucket, but it's also legal documents, right? And tax implications that go involved on this. What I'd say is, ask yourself, if the market dropped 20% and you needed money, are you going to be forced to sell from that bucket, that bucket that's down 20%, right? That's really fragile. That's fragility. But if the market drops 20% and you just shift from a different source, a different bucket that's not down 20% because you have that in place, that's called structure. If your only income source is the market, volatility can control you. And if you have sequencing flexibility, meaning what buckets to pull from, because you have different style of buckets, different risk tolerances, different tax buckets, you can, on some level, control that volatility. So again, stop forcing your portfolio to fund when there's a down market, or, maybe we're not in retirement. Maybe we're 10, 15 years away from retirement. You still want to have that bucket of money for everything I've just mentioned: freedom, flexibility, right? Maybe you want to buy a real estate property because the market is down, all of these different things. So for more information on this piece, we actually just recorded an episode on this. It's episode 342, where we talk about true liquidity. So make sure you check out that episode for that piece. As I've said before, financial success isn't about how big your portfolio is. It's about how little your life is controlled by volatility, obligation, and fragility. So check out these 5 tests: the cash flow control, protection and durability, freedom timeline, alignment, and liquidity and sequencing, so that you can feel confident and have the life that you want. Design your future so powerful it reshapes your present. If you found any value out of this episode, make sure you head over to builtforlife.com, and there's a contact us. And I'd love to hear from you around what you liked, even what you didn't like. If you didn't like this episode, or if you want more about something else, that's a great spot to reach out to us. If you did get something out of this, share this with your friends, your family, your coworkers. The whole reason Alex and I started this podcast was to help you think differently about your money and live the life that you want. Not what Alex and I want or someone else wants, but what it is that you want. So as always, I hope this episode was valuable for you. And as always, cheers.
This podcast is for informational purposes only and is not to be construed as tax, legal, or investment advice. Although the information has been gathered from sources believed to be reliable, please note that individual situations can vary. Therefore, the information should be relied upon only when coordinated with individual professional advice. Guest speakers and their firms are not affiliated with or endorsed by Park Avenue Securities, Guardian, or Quantified Financial Partners, and opinions stated are their own. Guardian, its subsidiaries, agents, and employees do not provide tax, legal, or accounting advice. Consult your tax, legal, or accounting professional regarding your individual situation. All investments and investment strategies contain risk and may lose value. This material is intended for general public use. By providing this content, Park Avenue Securities, LLC is not undertaking to provide investment advice or a recommendation for any specific individual or situation, or to otherwise act in a fiduciary capacity. Please contact a financial representative for guidance and information that is specific to your individual situation. Ryan and Alex are registered representatives and financial advisors of Park Avenue Securities, LLC. OSJ 200 Market Street, Suite 1850, Portland, Oregon 97201. Phone number 503-221-1226. Securities products and advisory services offered through Park Avenue Securities, member FINRA, SIPC. Financial representatives of the Guardian Life Insurance Company of America, Guardian, New York, New York. Park Avenue Securities is a wholly owned subsidiary of Guardian. Quantified Financial Partners is not an affiliate or subsidiary of Park Avenue Securities or Guardian. Ryan Burklo, CA Insurance License Number 0K24924. Alexander Collins, CA Insurance License Number 0H24806.
881091.1, expiration date March 2028.